Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Sooner Surge. And tonight, there's a huge crystal ball. 2025 five-star tight end Davon Mitchell, the best friend of Michael Hawkins Jr., recent 2024 quarterback commit, has been crystal balled by the Steve Wiltfong to OU. Jason, we've heard about it for a while that whenever Michael Hawkins committed, I mean, we know how great of friends him and Davon Mitchell are. They've played together at Allen. Really, it's kind of with him. It's kind of been he's going to go wherever Michael Hawkins go because they probably have been planning to be a package deal. I mean, you saw the connection they had in high school, absolute dominant. Devon Mitchell now he's a guy that's expected to reclassify to
Oh,
2020.
yeah, Jackson, on that, I was going to ask you about that. So, this reclassification, how, how certain are you that he's going to reclassify to 24?
Like,
And what kind of gives you that knowledge that you think he may reclassify?
well, I would say it's about 90 to 95% now. I remember it was on KREF during the 2 to 3 segment that Tyler McComas and Parker Thune said. This was a while back. I'm thinking maybe like November of last year, whenever OU was really starting to get into the thick of the Michael Hawkins Jr. recruitment. And I know that him and Devon Mitchell both want to go into college as roommates the same year. And that's what kind of brought that up about him potentially reclassifying. And it sounds like after Devon Mitchell also kind of why he transferred to Los Alamitos was so he could get more of his classes done, more stuff like that to be able to reclassify early. So that's really kind of when that started. And it sounds like his family it truly wants him to reclassify to be able to go play with Michael Hawkins. And also a report that was said on the ref on Friday was that Devon Mitchell's dad actually went to practice this last week with just Michael Hawkins Jr. dad. Neither of their kids were there. No one was there. So you see the kind of family connection they have.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, to me, the whole reclassification, and I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in recruiting by any means. Obviously, I don't follow it that closely. Honestly, I follow it, but not like as closely as you do. But the whole reclassification to me is also it's not just based on friends. It's also you have um, obviously you got to get your classes done, but it goes down to okay if you're ready for college. You have your class done and you're ready, and you're already going to be a high recruit anyway. I guess why not go ahead and go to college? I mean, that's kind of where I'm just kind of landing on that. Is if a player's ready to play college ball and they've finished everything else, is that when they're reclassifying, or are they doing it because? I mean, I don't know. Do some people reclassify because the next year's class is heavier, so they want to get out before? I mean, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about probably in reclassification.
Yeah.
But in general, yeah, Devon Mitchell, we know the relationship with Michael Hawkins. We saw the tweet just tonight from Michael Hawkins about come join the family and everything. So yeah, there's some definitely smoke there, and where there's smoke, there's fire, obviously. So we'll see, and whether that's 24, 25, I don't know, but like you said, it could very possibly be 24. So um, anything else on Mitchell?
I mean, the kid is uber talented.
He looks like a beast. I mean, his I don't know how tall he is, but
No. I think it's like 6'4", I think, if I can remember
what
right.
is he? He's the number one tight end in 25, correct?
Number two, I
Number
think.
two.
Well,
Okay.
he's number two according to On Three, I believe. I don't know 24/7 off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
Georgia got the number one guy in 2020.
that's right. Yeah, Georgia's tight end. You really.
Dude,
Uh,
that's crazy. But I mean, you talk about it like Joe John Finley. Now, if he the only high level guy he's gotten is Caden Helms. I mean, he's gotten Jason Llewellyn, Cade McIntyre. Uh, well, he technically did get the commitment from Austin Stogner because he got him to come back.
yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think who did he get in the class before Caden Helms and Jason Llewellyn? Did he take anyone?
No, they had Parker transferred over
Yeah,
from
Dan.
Missouri.
Was his first year Braden Willis's freshman or sophomore year?
No, Braden would have been, gosh, a sophomore, I believe. I believe Braden would have been a sophomore.
Yeah, but
So,
you talk about, Jojon Finley really being able to establish himself as okay. He's here now. He's arrived on the recruiting scene because we've seen it. Emmett Jones is a possibility in his first year to land. Bryant Westco, Miguel Chavis has done it with PJ Adebore. Todd Bates is probably going to do it with David Stone.
well, that's kind of where I was wanting to go next with you, Jackson. Is we all know the depth of the 24 class on the defensive line,
Oh yeah,
right? We all know it. We've talked about this before on last year. Um, the the guy up the middle that the OU really wanted, and
David Hicks.
yeah, David Hicks going to A&M, didn't get him. So this year, I think it's very crucial, 24 class, that Bates is able to get one at least, if not two. I mean, because we've heard. So I'm going to throw these names out there, Jackson. And as an OU, I know you're an OU fan. You cover OU, but just as an unbiased opinion, okay, you got Williams Nwaneri, you got David Stone, obviously, you got Nigel Smith, and you got Xadavian Sims. Okay, out of those four, what are your thoughts on how many they're going to get from those four? Look, honest, just like a percentage. Of, you think they're going to get 2, 1, 0? What?
Well, obviously, the first thing I'll say it's the absolute pipe dream to get all four. If you talk,
They're not getting all four.
it's just it's
If
gonna
they
be
get all four,
if they get all four, then you're talking about the
they're
best defensive line class in the country and probably one of the best in the modern recruiting era.
well, they're not. Yeah, I would be highly shocked if they get
I
more
mean,
than 2.
I think the guy that's going to be most hard to get is Stone. And that's because it's due to obviously Stone. He loves to take visits. He does all this. He's going to be heavily involved in the NIL game compared to the other three guys. And his family, it's all over the internet. His mom, it's been reported everywhere. Apparently, doesn't want him to stay in Oklahoma. Apparently, she's not sold on OU. This is back to the same thing that happened with Peyton Bowen last year. Peyton Bowen all this time wanted to be at OU, wanted to be at OU. Dad didn't want him at OU. Mom wanted him at Notre Dame. And he ended up choosing Oregon, and that's not really what he wanted for himself. And we see where it ended up in Norman. And I wouldn't be shocked if the same thing happens with David Stone.
So, who do you think out of those four is the highest probability for OU to get?
Nigel Smith.
Nigel Smith. Okay.
Nigel Smith.
And out of those four, where does he rank?
Third
Fourth best? Third best?
Yeah.
Third best? Xadavian Sims fourth?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you're looking at those four. I think if you were to get Nwaneri and Stone and just in those two, I think that would be an amazing class if you get 2 of them. I mean, obviously, I mean, if Bates is able to land 2 of those guys, I think it'd be a great class. This is probably the deepest as far as that position goes, as far as those top tier guys that OU's been in on. I'm not going to say it's the deepest defensive line high school class because usually a lot of those top tier guys are considering Alabama, Georgia, and these guys are too. I'm not saying they're not, but it does sound like OU's at least in the ballpark with them, right? Which is something that OU hasn't been in that position before Todd Bates came in, really. Since you can go back to Gerald McCoy, obviously, Gerald McCoy was probably the highest recruited defensive lineman in the last – I'm trying to think if there was somebody after him. I mean, because you had Tommy Harris, Gerald McCoy. What's that?
The only guy that was close to 5-star status, which I don't know why he was ranked this high, was Clayton Smith. I mean, that's awful.
I'm trying to remember.
Staff.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. Maybe some of our listeners here would remember, but I believe Lampkin was really highly touted. Didn't really pan out that well, but I believe he was a pretty high recruit. But I may be wrong on that. But anyway, let's get back to it. So. Ideally, yeah, obviously, if they can land all 4, but it's not going to happen. So, to me, if they land 2, it's a massive, huge recruiting get for the Sooners. Obviously, out of those 4, man, I think you got Nwaneri and Stone as I kind of think they're A and double A or A and AB. I mean, they're so similar, I think, in their rankings. And so either one of those guys, obviously, to me, that's the number one focus for this next 24 classes is you got to build strength up the middle, right? And we've talked about it on our past podcasts, on our past recruiting with the defense that Venables likes to play. You got to get that guy in the middle. And this is their golden opportunity. You're moving to the SEC. You got to build that up. So four guys there, Jackson. You're saying they're getting you. You say what, 2 or 3?
I'm going to go on a limb. This is what I personally believe. I think all 4 are going to be Sooners.
Jackson, are you serious?
All 4 are going to be Sooners.
You're just saying that because you're a Sooner fan.
No, I'm not. I truly.
Okay, so what makes you think that? Because listen, what in the past 10 years makes you think they're going to get all 4 guys on defensive line?
Nothing in the past 10 years. It's Todd Bates. How many dudes has Todd Bates put in the NFL at Clemson?
I understand, and I think he will get a couple, but I don't think getting all 4s even. I really don't think that's even an option. Because listen, if you're one of those guys like Zadavian Sims and 2 other guys commit, are you going to go there or are you going to go somewhere else? Right? I mean, these guys want to play like right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really that. And I'm not saying either way what they'll do, but you want guys that want the competitive, the competitiveness to go against. So maybe that's the way these guys are. Maybe they're the ones that are like, no, I don't want that competition. I'll go somewhere where I can just obviously be the dude. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But one more question, Jackson, maybe before we wrap this up. Obviously Hawkins committed. Now I want to talk about. We talked about Davon Mitchell at tight end. So what about wide receivers? How many do you think they'll take this year in 24? How many do you think they'll take in this class?
I think 3.
You think they'll take 3?
Because Drake Stoops will obviously be leaving.
Mm-hmm.
If Jaleel Farouk has the type of year he's expecting, he'll probably will go to the NFL. That's what I would think. And then you look at it, you probably will have a guy or 2 transfer out after this year because it happens. It's pretty common. So you're going to need guys coming to fill up spots, and that's why I think they'll take 3.
So we've all heard, names like Bryant Wesco, Kearney. Who else out there besides those 2 should we keep an eye on?
Well, as I said in the Michael Hawkins video, I talked about Isaiah McMorris. And I actually had where he was going flipped. He was at USC this weekend. He goes up to Penn State next weekend. I firmly believe that OU's hardest competition in that race is going to be USC because whenever I watch film on Isaiah McMorris, the thing he does so well is whenever he gets the ball in space, he's so good with the ball in his hands. And that's what Riley did so successfully at Oklahoma was he did get receivers the ball in space, got them opportunities to make plays with the ball in their hands. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, we saw it with Theo Weiss several times.
They didn't really use Weiss like they really.
But his freshman year, the game against Baylor,
he had a great game. Yeah,
Baylor, yeah. But I mean,
and Mario Williams, obviously Mario Williams is that guy like that.
Yeah, Mario Williams, that's true. So I do think it's going to come down to OU and USC. I actually do think Isaiah McMorris will commit to OU within the next couple weeks because you look at it, I mean, Zion Kearney, he could pop soon. You could have a 2025 guy and Grayson Harris pop soon, and that's one spot automatically filled up for 2025. So, you have him coming in. Spots get even tighter. So, I mean, and obviously if Bryant Wesco wants to commit, they're saving a spot for him. So you think about it, the first guy, if let's say Zion Kearney is the first guy to commit, that's going to rush Isaiah McMorris because there's other guys. You look at a guy like Brandon Marsh is the guy that isn't getting talked about enough. He was originally committed to Michigan State. He's visited OU, I believe. He's a name to watch out for if Isaiah McMorris and USC really do start to heat up. That's a target OU starts to pursue hard.
Who's the guy? Who's the guy in your opinion that is the guy they really like? Is their top guy? Wesco. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Yeah,
5-star composite guy, absolute talented. We've heard the comparisons. I made the comparison to CeeDee Lamb. when he gets the ball in his hands, I mean, his frame, he looks a lot like CeeDee Lamb.
Does
Great.
he have top schools listed yet?
I think he has a top 8 or top 6.
Yeah, still out there with a pretty good number. So yeah.
The really only competition I think OU has will come down to TCU and Texas. And I mean, TCU, I'm sorry, but I would think someone will want to commit to OU over TCU at wide receiver.
Hey, TCU is just in the national title game, and you got Malcolm Kelly as the wide receiver coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
they put out some good receivers at TCU.
Yeah, they have.
They really have, and they're going to be the cream. To me, they're going to be one of the cream of the Big 12 crop for sure, moving forward. So,
yeah, that's for sure. So. Well, I mean, the wide receiver room, whenever you look at it as a whole, Emmett Jones, if he lands on Isaiah McMorris, Zion Kearney is a top 150 guy. Bryant Wesco is a 5-star in the composite. I mean, you talk about absolutely amazing class. Along paired with Jaquez Petaway and Keon Brown coming in this next or in the 2023 class. You talk about 5 young guys along with Nick Anderson, Jaden Gibson, Gavin Freeman. I mean, it's just an absolute room that when it gets getting just it seems like OU's wide receiver room has gotten deeper and deeper over the last couple.
Well, and you also got Emmett Jones, who we've seen how he develops wide receivers, right, at Texas Tech, and just so it'll be interesting to see how they develop over the next few years, those young guys, and also it'd be interesting to see what kind of receivers Emmett Jones recruits, right? Because you know he I'm sure just like every wide receiver coach has guys that he looks for, maybe a different set of skills based on the offense and just based on just kind of what he's looking for. So it's going to be an exciting year for sure to see how they kind of finish the 2024 class. So anyway, guys, just wanted to get on here for a little bit, talk about obviously the big news was the Davon Mitchell crystal ball from Fong. He was Fonged. It's not always a guarantee when that happens, but I think this was a 6. Was it a 6, Jackson?
I think so.
Yeah. So, but anyway, just want to talk a little bit about recruiting on this Sunday, and hope everybody had a great Easter with family and just able to celebrate. So I know we all did. So once again, just thank y'all as listeners. Please comment, give us a like or review. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate the latest subscribers that have joined. And just once again, guys, we'll have content up here daily if we can, if not at least a few times a week for you. So thanks for listening again, and Boomer.
Boomer.